I mean, I've got to ask the question. This is maybe more so directed at the Denver Broncos and their front office. What exactly were you expecting to happen in 2021? I mean, seriously. You going into the season with your quarterback room led by Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. Now, I get with the new general manager, head coach Vic Fangio, was going to be on the hot seat no matter what. Understandable. And you know what? It is a competitive, results-driven business. And if you don't produce results no matter what scenario or situation you're in, I understand. Like, you're always looking for that next guy. But just how much were the Broncos really, really, truly expecting here with Teddy Bridgewater as that dude in 2021, or if it wasn't him, Drew Lock? I mean, even when you look at the draft and their approach and their philosophy, I understand you have a defensive-minded head coach, but especially since you have either a former second-round pick at quarterback or you have Teddy Bridgewater, the ultimate bridge quarterback, as your guy under center. You take a corner in the first round of the draft, like, that's just fucking stupid. I realize Surtain will be a nice player in the league, probably for a long time, yes, but, you know, just because you screwed up in the past on Paxton Lynch doesn't mean you should be passing up on Justin Fields and Mac Jones. That's just really risky, and not for a good reason. So now you go into a season with your quarterback position, and you're expecting the results to be anything other than that. Like, that's a mindset to me if there is anything else. Now, they did start the season 3-0, which you look at it and you say, ooh, so it was ugly the rest of the way. Well, let's be clear here. Who exactly did the Denver Broncos beat the first 3 weeks of the season? The New York Giants, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the New York Jets. 2 teams starting rookie quarterbacks, and another one that's an absolute shit show as well in the fucking Giants. So you beat 3 of the absolute dregs of the league to start the season. That is the epitome of fool's gold with a 3-0 start if there ever has been one. So not surprised when they actually started to play people, they lost, and they lost a lot. They lost their next 4 in a row. They actually went 4-10 the rest of the way after that 0-3 start, which is why at the trade deadline they sent Von Miller packing to the Los Angeles Rams for a second and third round pick. You know, because by that point in time, realistically, they were out of it. Which again brings me back to the whole thing of your quarterback situation revolved around Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. You're trading Von Miller in the middle of the season. How much was Vic Fangio supposed to do as head coach? I mean, realistically. It's almost like you were throwing him under the bus so you had an excuse to fire him. And don't get me wrong, when I look at how he was coaching late in the season, was it the Chargers game on like Saturday or something? I can't remember what game it was. It's been a few months now. Forgive me. But, you know, it's like 4th and 3. Your team has nothing to play for and you're punting it. Yeah, at that point in time, I'm with you. Dude's got to fucking go. But if you ever look at a situation, you say you wonder if the general manager undercut the head coach just to get him the fuck out of here. Here would be a perfect example of that. Because what the fuck else was he supposed to do? I mean, I'm just saying. They're 1-5 in the AFC West, but you're going up against Mahomes twice a year, Herbert twice a year, who you actually beat once, and Derek Carr twice a year. And you're trotting out there a Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? So yeah, your defense was 8th in the league in total yards allowed and 3rd in total points, but it didn't fucking matter because the Broncos are playing some 80s, 90s game manager football bullshit. Their offense was subpar. So yeah, Vic Fangio was fired after the season, and they went out and hired Nathaniel Hackett with the belief being that, hey, this means that maybe the Broncos are going to be big players in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes, and maybe they're going to do it. And you know what? Certainly could understand that. Because every other approach they've taken at the quarterback position in the past couple of years has been the wrong one. But holy cow, did we get frickin' swerved here, huh? We found out what the Broncos were going to do at the quarterback position, and they went big in a different way. They gave up a shit ton of picks and some players, including former first-round pick Noah Fant and Drew Lock, to the Seattle Seahawks to bring in Russell Wilson. So a year after the Seahawks could have traded him, they end up trading him, still getting that king's ransom, And the Broncos have made their statement, and they've made their move to have either the third or fourth best quarterback in the AFC West. Interesting, to say the least. But they had to do something. And you could argue, especially long term, if either Mac Jones or Justin Fields becomes a top 8 or 10 quarterback in the league at a minimum, that the Broncos look really stupid here because they passed on the opportunity to draft one of those two guys, to draft a corner, to then have to give up the fucking farm the next few years in order to get that quarterback after all. But they had to do this. Like nothing else mattered. They finally learned their lesson of, we got to have somebody legit in this quarterback position or it's not going to matter. You're going to waste a really good defense, which is what the hell they were doing. You can't keep piecemealing it and half-assing it at the most important position in North American professional sports, let alone the NFL. And finally, they didn't half-ass it. So they've addressed their number one need. And the good thing for the Broncos is they still have a number of draft picks because of the Von Miller deal and other things. So it's not like their draft capital is totally, completely depleted this year, but they've got some other work to do. Now that you've brought in a Russell Wilson, you have to build up that offense around him, which means you address that offensive line, right tackle, center, fucking running back, tight end, wide receiver. And I know some of you are going to be partial to, what about the Cortland Suttons of the world? Or what about Albert O? Whatever. No. You went with a big-time investment in Russell Wilson. Now you have to go with a big-time investment on the offensive side of the ball. Your team was fucking 7-10. You can't be too partial to any damn body. Period. Wherever you can upgrade on that offense, you damn do it. Period. And that's what this offseason has to be about. I can certainly make an argument, with Von Miller going. What are you going to do with the edge rusher opposite Bradley Chubb? But maybe you'll bring in somebody like a Chandler Jones. That would be a way to plug that gap. Need some more at the linebacking position. But it's got to be about offense now. You made the big deal for Russell Wilson. Learn the lesson of the Seahawks and protect Russell Wilson. That's job number one here. Job number freaking one. Step up and do what the Seahawks failed to do. Now, in terms of Russell Wilson and whether this deal is ultimately going to work out, time will tell. You gave up a lot of draft pick capital to get him. There is absolutely no question about that. There are also concerns to me about, just how really good he's been the past couple of years. And you're trading for a guy who did miss a few games last year. To his credit, rushed back early from the injury, but he also rushed back and didn't look that great. And now you're talking about a guy entering his mid-30s. How well does his skill set, style of play translate as he ages? Ugh. Just saying. And I get where the Seahawks are saying, we had him and we weren't contending anyway, so I was going to move on and start the next era. But it is really difficult to find the dude at the quarterback position. So it should always make you bat an eye at least and stop and think and question, why is a team that's had this guy for a decade willing to part with him now, regardless of the draft pick capital they're going to get in return? That's all I'm saying. But the Broncos had no choice, and they put themselves into this situation and position where they had to go get somebody. And even then, it gives them no guarantee of anything in that damn AFC West, which is now a fucking dogfight because of the quarterback position. Russell Wilson is legitimately the third best quarterback in that division, and in another year or two, he might be the fourth best. That's crazy. But at least I give the Broncos this. They took stock of what happened in 2021 and said, we can't do that again. I'll at least, if nothing else, give them credit from learning from their damn mistakes.